Nigel Farage's latest declaration on immigration policy has struck a nerve across the UK, and it's not hard to see why. In a bold statement, he promised that under a reform UK government, anyone entering Britain illegally would face immediate deportation. For many, this is a long overdue move in a country desperate to regain control over its borders. For others, it's a dangerous, half-baked promise that glosses over the complexities of immigration and risks pushing millions of people into an untenable limbo. But one thing is certain: Farage's stance has reignited a debate that has long simmered beneath the surface of British politics. Farage's hardline rhetoric resonates with a large section of the electorate that feels ignored, disenfranchised, and betrayed by both the Labour and Conservative parties on the issue of immigration. After decades of inaction, broken promises, and a lack of meaningful policy change, many voters are looking for a leader who will speak plainly and take decisive action. In this sense, Farage's uncompromising stance on deportation is exactly what his supporters want to hear. They are tired of seeing illegal immigration thrive unchecked, while the government fails to implement meaningful solutions. In their eyes, Farage's promise to send every single illegal migrant packing is a necessary step toward restoring national sovereignty. However, to simply accept this rhetoric at face value would be a mistake. Farage's pronouncement, while powerful in its simplicity, fails to account for the complex realities of immigration management. The immediate deportation of every illegal migrant may sound like a straightforward solution, but the logistics of implementing such a policy are fraught with challenges. From the sheer number of people involved to the diplomatic hurdles of sending people back to their countries of origin, the policy would require an unprecedented level of coordination that Reform UK has yet to prove it can handle. While the party's critics might call it a populist stunt, the truth is that Farage is making promises that would be difficult, if not impossible, to deliver in practice. Farage's sudden shift from advocating for the processing of asylum seekers in British overseas territories to his new hardline stance on deportations only highlights the inconsistencies within Reform UK's platform. The policy shift raises serious questions about the party's ability to craft coherent, sustainable immigration strategies. Farage himself seems to have changed his mind on a key issue, and his supporters are left wondering if this is the sign of a leader who is reacting to political pressure rather than standing firm on well-thought-out principles. For a party that touts itself as a serious alternative to the establishment, such contradictions are troubling and suggest a lack of foresight and long-term planning. In addition to the challenges of deportation, Farage's policy is woefully inadequate in addressing the tens of thousands of illegal migrants already in the UK. The estimated number of illegal migrants currently residing in the country, some sources place it as high as 1 million, requires an equally robust solution. Yet Farage's policy, as articulated, makes no mention of dealing with this existing population. While Reform UK promises to deport anyone entering the country illegally from the moment they assume power, there's a glaring absence of a plan for those who have already crossed the border. This oversight exposes the limitations of Farage's position and risks creating a de facto amnesty for millions of illegal immigrants who would remain untouched by his government's policies. The lack of attention to those already in the country also raises concerns about fairness. It's one thing to promise deportations for new arrivals, but it is another to ignore the people who have been living in the UK, working, paying taxes, and integrating into communities. Farage's rhetoric may be popular among those who want to see swift action, but it also ignores the nuances of human lives and the complicated circumstances under which many migrants arrived in the UK. His blanket approach to immigration risks alienating the very people who might have been supportive of Reform UK's tough stance if it had been more balanced and thoughtful. The criticism from within Farage's own party further exposes the fractures in his policy. Rupert Lowe, one of Reform UK's MPs, has openly criticised Farage's deportation plan, calling it inadequate and weak. Lowe's comments reflect the internal divisions within the party over the direction of its immigration strategy. While Farage's uncompromising rhetoric plays well with the base, it risks fracturing the party if it cannot present a unified and pragmatic vision for immigration reform. Farage's shift in policy, driven by the need to maintain political momentum, could ultimately backfire if Reform UK fails to offer a clear, consistent, and practical plan that addresses both the immediate and long-term challenges of illegal immigration. Farage's rise in the polls is a testament to the growing discontent with traditional parties and their inability to tackle the immigration issue head-on. With Reform UK now neck and neck with Labour, it's clear that many voters are responding to his unfiltered approach. However, the real question is whether Farage and his party can convert this momentum into something more substantial than populist slogans. The stakes are high, and Farage's boldness may not be enough to overcome the deep complexities of the issue. If Reform UK truly wants to reshape British politics, it must present more than just promises. It must offer workable, comprehensive policies that address the multifaceted challenges of immigration while maintaining fairness, consistency, and a commitment to the values of the British people. In the end, Farage's promise may resonate with a growing number of Britons, but the practicality of his policies remains uncertain. As the country moves closer to the next general election, the question remains whether his party's tough rhetoric will be enough to turn their bold claims into tangible outcomes, or whether the complexities of governing will expose the flaws in his approach. One thing is clear: immigration will continue to be at the forefront of British politics, and the battle for control over the nation's borders is far from over.